The 2020 reboot of the original Digimon series from 1999 has officially ended, and while it's always sad to say goodbye to Tai, Agumon, Matt, Gabumon, and the gang, the silver lining is that with the show complete, we can now talk about it as a whole. So today, we're going full watch mojo and counting down the DigiKnow's top 10 episodes of Digimon Adventure 2020. The main criteria for this list are either episodes that were massive WTF moments that had the community watching doing backflips in front of their TVs, and or episodes that were simply perfect embodiments of Digimon as a series. So let's just get going. Number 10, episode 16, the Jet Black Shadow invades Tokyo. One of the best things a reboot of a beloved series can do is play with expectations, and this episode did that masterfully. Not only did it start with a cliffhanger from the previous week that had half the team mysteriously return to the human world, even earlier than in the original series, it slowly started to reveal it had double played us, when it turned out the Tokyo we were wandering around in was a simulation city still inside the digital world. The simulation slowly starts showing its cracks in these really creepy ways, like a subway corridor that never ends and a train that infinitely loops. It kind of becomes a light horror episode, which in some ways it was like a trial run for Digimon Ghost Game, being a horror inspired take on Digimon. And as the series went on, it turned out this episode's plot and villain were actually very relevant to the overall story. Not to mention, it gave us this great shot of Greymon in Shibuya Crossing. Number 9, episode 46, the Sword of Hope. This episode was the peak of one of the reboot's best plot lines, that being the complex relationship between Angemon and Devimon. We defeated Devimon nearly 20 weeks earlier, but thanks to a villain that had copied the battle data of past enemies, Devimon comes back once more to test Angemon's faith. With TK's help, Angemon prevails and unlocks the Holy Angemon form, but this series does something extremely cool. Angemon overcomes and almost absorbs Devimon, like Piccolo and Kami fusing in DBZ. You know that black arm Holy Angemon has always had? Adventure 2020 brilliantly writes in that this is because Devimon lingers inside Holy Angemon, and the black arm is a reminder of his presence. Number 8, episode 50, The End, the Ultimate Holy Battle. Episodes 48, 49, and 50 are all a great trio of episodes, and any one of these could deserve the nomination. War Greymon versus Mugendramon in 48, the kids facing their first real defeat and a serious depressing reality check in 49, but 50 is getting the spot for the sheer scale of the battle between Goddramon, Holydramon, and Millenniummon. It was the animation debut of Goddramon, and he lived up to that name with an unbelievable size and power. I love how slow and heavy the punches felt. We're watching giants throw down after all. Also, the Spirit Bomb ending makes even more sense now that the series is over and we can look back knowing the theme of the show was really the digital world deciding if it wanted to continue existing and refreshing. In this moment, the digital world fought for itself by lending its strength to War Greymon. Number 7, episode 63, the Crest of Courage. This episode was an absolute love letter to Adventure 1999's legacy. It's a solo Taichi episode where for once he is tasked with protecting his Digimon rather than having a Digimon protect him. We really see Taichi exhibit his courage in protecting the little Botamon, and when Botamon returns the favor, the evolution into Agumon, then Greymon, is this beautiful visual homage to the original Hosoda short film, Digimon Adventure, with the big Agumon and the red Greymon. To top it all off, when Taichi passes the trial, we get a great lore drop about the end of the Holy War and the origin of Omegamon/Omnimon that sets us up nicely for the 4-part finale. Number 6, episode 60 is Vikemon Ventures the Glaciers. The 2020 reboot did so right by Joe and Mimi's characters. Episode 37, Mimi-chan Wars, Joe wielding Zudamon's hammer in episode 38, but if we have to choose one episode to represent how great Joe and Mimi were in Adventure 2020, it's going to be episode 60, which sees them team up with their respective ragtag crews. The humor is exceptional, the combat animation is crisp, Joe and Mimi are elevating each other and bringing out the best in one another for 22 minutes straight. The Mimi-Joe ventriloquist act is so good, and this is one of the mega debuts with Vikemon that really feels the most earned and not like a little checklist of things that need to happen before the finale. Number 5, episode 54, the Vagrant War Demon Rebellimon. This is another episode that worked wonderfully as a standalone episode of Digimon when it premiered, but it's honestly even better now that the show is over and we better understand the story they were trying to tell about rebirth and the will to live. We see Ogremon, who was a super early enemy turned rival of Greymon that we thought was destroyed in the first arc of the show. He's back in a new form, sort of discovering what his new purpose in life is after facing a traumatic near-death experience at the beginning of the show. It's a quieter episode that is full of heart and delivers some of the best animation Digimon has ever seen, period. You can't not respect this episode. Number 4, episode 8, the Children's Attack on the Fortress. This is the first time we see the full cast, minus TK and Kari, united and working together. It is classic Digimon Adventure with the kids teaming up, bouncing ideas and jokes off of each other. Yamato/Matt has never been cooler than he is in this episode with that cloak. It's only a shame they did so well here with Matt, but then kind of forget about him later in the series. I'll be sure to cover that more in detail in the full series review I have planned later this year, but as a single episode, the children's attack on the fortress is extremely Digimon. Number 3, episode 67, the finale, the end of the adventure. Of course, the beautifully animated and emotionally satisfying series finale needs to be somewhere on this list. At this point, we knew exactly what the show's thesis was. The digital world was at war with itself, deciding if it wanted to continue rebooting or just to end everything. The instinct to end was kind of winning the internal debate thanks to a boost it got from the human world's internet being just a sea of negative energy. But our heroes, citizens of the digital world, and kids around the human world express a desire to keep existing, and in a very our wargame fashion, they bring about Omegamon and his newest form, Alter-S, for an exceptionally animated final fight. Our kids actually keep their Digimon at the end, unlike the 1999 farewell, which was a legitimate surprise and a very welcome one. The show even left the door open for a sequel if they want to return to these characters and rules after Ghost Game. Number 2, episode 43, Clash, the King of Digimon. Now, this is a best of episodes list, but part of the criteria, as I mentioned at the top, is the WTF factor, and the next 2 episodes were jaw-dropping WTF moments that I'll remember forever. One criticism this series had was that it was go, go, go. The kids never got a break or had a dull moment to just interact in a low-stakes, kind of goofy way. This complaint was remedied by episode 43, which was just such a fun 22 minutes. Musical sound waves cause our Digimon partners to malfunction in hilarious ways, the best of which is that Gabumon is just missing with his fur left behind, and Yamato is in the background of this episode freaking out and searching for him the entire time. And then the debut of an alternate evolution for Mimi's Digimon, Palmon, was completely out of nowhere, not teased whatsoever the week prior. Ponchomon was ridiculously cool and again, just beautifully animated. This is another episode for the history book of amazing Digimon episodes. But of course, if we're talking about the WTF factor and amazing Digimon episodes, the number 1 spot, it always had to be episode 24, the final stage, DAWNDEVIMON. This is kind of the episode that changed the game for Digimon 2020. It had movie quality animation that rivaled what you see in Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia season finales. Digimon had no business looking this good when it wasn't even a finale or a movie, but the episode just gave and gave and gave. DAWNDEVIMON's creepiness, how dark it was with our heroes losing, Metal Greymon dark digivolving into a burning red Mugendramon, Angemon having to purify him, and then the aura form of War Greymon making its first appearance. Saying that out loud, I can't even believe that all of that was in a single episode. Episode 24 was without a doubt the best single episode of Digimon Adventure 2020 and quite possibly of any Digimon season ever. And that's our list. Can you think of an episode of Digimon that is better than Adventure 2020's episode 24? What episodes from this season did we not include that you personally loved? Comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. Subscribe to the channel if you want more Adventure 2020 recaps like this, and if you want an episode review of the brand new Digimon season that just started up, Ghost Game, every single Sunday. Ghost Game is awesome so far. It's slightly more mature, so if you're worried Digimon is just a kid show, at least give Ghost Game episode 1 a try, and maybe it'll rekindle your love of Digimon. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.